I'd like to welcome everyone to the conversation where we talk about everything Cowboys. My favorite team, your favorite team, America's team. Here with your host, Coach Marv.
Cowboy Nation, how are you doing today, man? How are everyone out there doing today, man? We getting closer to Christmas. We actually a week away now. Tomorrow we'll be a week away from being into another Christmas day. Um, and a little quiet on the Cowboy front. No, we really disappointed. I had in my last show that I talked about being disappointed because of it just that we showed again that we were not consistent in being a good football team. But I wanted to step in today and talk about how important these last three games are for the future. And maybe I got a little bit more of another reason why I say that these games are very important, because a lot of people think that they're very important for evaluating players, but this is more important about evaluating, are we making progress? Even though the season didn't go where we wanted to go, are we making progress of mindset? And I know that's a hard thing for people to understand. And with adversity, you can build some good things can come out of it. Um, just want to go over a couple of things that's very important. A lot of people may not talk about these things, but they're very important. Um, but it's very important that we finish these games out and we play hard, and we don't come up with these miraculous injuries that puts us out. We need all the adversity. We need all the game time, grinding out reps in live action, and not to play scared, not to play like we gonna get somebody hurt and he be off season. You got the whole off season. It's time, it is really time for this team to say, okay, yes, we had a tumultuous year, a very inconsistent year, but it's time to really finish this game out, finish this season out in the right manner and playing good football. We need to go into next year with some type of consistency being built. Even though it's a whole different year after you leave out of this year, nothing carries forward. But we need to figure out how to play. And I don't care if it's on the Washington team. It's a very good Charger team coming into the to Dallas this weekend that's battling for a playoff spot. We meet that force with force and play one of our better games. And then we're going into two rival games at this end of this year. And we cannot go as Cowboy fans. And what frustrates me sometimes about Cowboy fans is that we start to think of ourselves being more than what we really are. And this is not to denigrate our team. This is not to say our team is a bad football team, but you are what your records say you are. And how do you get out the mud? Do you get out the mud by saying, "Oh, we're gonna play a draft position"? Do you get out of the mud by saying, "Oh, well, let's sit so and so guy down"? Well, we don't need to play hard. We don't need to be engaged because, well, the season is over with. Well, we can't make the playoffs. We need to start sitting people down. Or do you keep playing to get better? I say we keep playing to get better. because we hadn't found any rhythm this year. Now I know some people gonna say, well, coach, why we can't play with Matt Eberflus? Uh, why play with him in this thing? Because everybody wants him fired. Well, okay, that's fine too. That's fine if you want Matt Eberflus fired. I'm not gonna fight people on that. But I do want to say this about the defense. You got to build some continuity on this defense. Let's go over some of the things. Let's go over some of these things and tell me, if you get into join in the chat, but tell me if I'm wrong. We got a lot of questions about Kenny Murray. Kenny Murray. Kenny Murray was hurt a lot of preseason. We started out with this year with Damone Clark, and we found out he got a lot of time, but he wasn't physical enough. We gave a lot of time to Sanborn early on, and we found out he got hurt. Even though he was slow, but he got a growing pull that probably was a third degree, and that kid got him out. Let's look at our secondary. Clark, number 21, missed time early on. And Carson missed time again. You had problems with your safeties, Hooker and Wilson doing the preseason, doing training camp where they were hurt. Hooker done missed 5 games this year because of a foot. And there were 2 other games when he came back, he hadn't even made the whole game. Donovan Wilson had missed the game, and he's been out here and there. Well, we all know what happened to Trayvon Diggs. He missed all the training camp. Then he came back, and then he missed another 6 games. And we don't know how hurt he was playing when he was playing. We know Bland missed 2 or 3 games and came back, but he missed games and practice time. Butler has never seen the field all year long. Randall was hurt all the training camp, and we just got him back in the middle of the season. Wanye Thomas has been out the last 7 games of the season. Clark, the guy that you came down and made that play on the special team, he broke a rib. He done missed some time. This is not to defend Matt Eberflus, because I think it's time for a new voice, but people. And I have seen other teams that have adjusted better with the injuries, but we have never had enough people continuously healthy to build any continuity. Then let's look at the defensive line. Defensive line has probably been your healthiest unit on the field. There's really not only the young guy that they got from the USFL. He was hurt, but everybody else has been virtually healthy. Linebackers. Mario Overshawn hadn't played the whole. We get him back in the middle of the year. I say this because football is the greatest team sport in football. And when you have guys that's in a new system and they miss all the training camp and come back in the middle of the season, I never look for them to give you great play. Never. I don't even count those guys as going to have a great year. They may have splashes, but the work ain't been put in, people. You can't. One thing about football, you just can't just lay down and say, "Okay, I ain't gonna practice, and I'll jump out there and I'm gonna dominate NFL players." Especially if you hadn't had Pro Bowl or you ain't been Pro Bowl player or way above everybody already. To get anything out of Randall, the cornerback drafted, is anything you get out of him is good. Because he missed all the training camp coming off an injury. So he's going through the growing pains. He's actually dealing with training camp in live action. So there's a lot that he's learning. And you could best believe it's moving in warp pace with him. Do you ever remember Trayvon Diggs had it tough his first year? And then the second year he came back out and he was a new player. It's tough. So when you're playing with guys like that, and then Agent Zero, think about it. He was doing well, but he hadn't had a complete football season with us yet. See, what I'm saying to us, what we do. As Cowboy fans, we look at players and we put too much expectations on them because if they show us a little bit, we start talking like they've been all pros. I love the linebacker, but he's not an all pro. Agent Zero is not an all pro. He had some very good flashes, and we thought he was ascending because he made a couple of plays. But he hadn't arrived yet. We didn't see a totally consistent, dominant linebacker yet. So he's still growing. So if he's been out for an injury and then he gets back in the middle of the year, what can we expect from him? Clowney, getting off the couch, came back. It took, and when you're an older player, no training camp, it took him a while to get going, but then you got knick-knack injuries with him. This team on the defensive end, and this is not, I'm not saying that this is any defense to Matt Eaglesloops, but if you're got any type of football mind and you're really constantly thinking, when was the whole unit together and healthy and had to gel? I could guarantee you they have had, I don't know how many different lineups on this team. There's very few guys on this team that hadn't missed extensive time. So that's one thing that's got to be fixed. One thing that's got to be fixed is that you cannot go into a year and you say, well, I got guys that I know that is hurt, and then they're going to come into the year about 3 or 4 weeks in, 5 or 6 weeks in. If they're not in training camp, you're really not getting anything, especially young players. You can't, rookie guys, they can't miss training camp and then drop them into a setting and then we expect them to be all work. They're running into things week in, week out that they hadn't seen before that's shocking to them. And players are going to attack them because they don't have that veteran experience. And especially if you put them in a situation where you're telling them to be all world. Now, if you're telling them, and I've said this before, if you're taking a rookie and he came in at the half of the year and you just told him that you want him to do one specific job, like special teams, or you want him to come in to blitz the quarterback, to do one specific job, you may get some good production out of it. But if you're telling him to go in and do a whole host of things, That's not. But our fan base thinks because we hype guys that it's supposed to work that way. This is no defense to Matt Eberflus. This is the truth. We could go down our roster, young players, players that we were going to depend on that missed significant time. Butler, we'll depend on him. Missed significant time. And he's not going to be, Butler is not, I can't count on Butler because he just had a couple of games of coming in his own, and we started to say he was arrived. You don't arrive, you do not stand on the scene in a football thing with a couple of good games. I'm not saying you're not a good football player, but it goes back to one thing. You have to build consistency in your play. And what builds consistency is doing stuff over and over and going through different scenarios and having a consistent type of play to your game. That's what makes you a good player. It's not flash in the pan. It's flash plays. It's not being noticed or being in the crowd. It's about the better players are consistently good at what they do. And that's built on experience. Now, that means a young player can't come out and do well? No. That means you got to have a young player. We can't depend on young players? No, I'm not saying that. But as they go through, you got to build some consistency, and then we can see where they're at. I don't know where Butler at. I seen he had a couple of good, okay games. He may have a couple of flash plays. They was loving his potential. But until he puts it on field on a consistent basis, we don't know. Revel is maybe a good cornerback. But missing all the training camp and half of the season, this guy, what you getting from him, if you get anything, just count that as great. But don't put too much expectations on it. And this defense is really playing with no confidence. They really not aggressive. They seem like they're moving in quicksand. And it was listen, when you start depending on players that's hurt, that's dinged up, I mean, it's a product for sometimes destruction. And especially when you hurt and you miss a time and you're trying to get into a new system and get new continuity. It's hard. Just imagine you getting a new offense coordinator in here and everyone is offensive linemen are hurt. The quarterback missed games, running back missed games, all the receiver missed games. And we say, okay, get some continuity with your offense. Now, this is no, like I said, again, maybe a new voice, but the next coach can't have these same things happen next year while he's trying to put a system in, and for us to say we're going to have some marginal success. So this 3 games are very important that we build some continuity in play. And Schottenheimer needs to stress that. See, what you build in the times of down is where you're going to be, what you're going to build upon to when we get ourselves going. Well, you can say Brian Flores did more with less. And you know something? He might have did more with less, But let's look at the context of his work. Got to have that continuity, and continuity comes with working and practicing. It's hard to say we're going to depend on a person totally, and it's a guy who's a rookie, and we say he done missed 7 weeks, and we're gonna say training camp. We're gonna say we're gonna depend on. I mean, we got some people that say that they're done. Football is a very, you can pay for all the players in the world. That don't mean you're gonna win. That's why football. That's why you see. Listen, nobody loved the roster for the Seattle team, but the Seattle team is going to be in the mix, and they're not going to be in the mix because they're so ultra talented. You got a team like the San Francisco 49ers that's going to be in the mix. They are in the mix. They have had their quarterback gone for, well, he done missed 5-6 games. Daniel Jones has been 5 or 6 games the quarterback. Well, people say that not Daniel Jones, but the quarterback out of Alabama. There was people said he was garbage. They have lost players, but their system and their culture is to play hard all the time, and that's what we got to see out of this fourth game. These last three games. To finish the season 9-7-1 will be remarkable, but will give us not this false hope, but will give you a good hope of going into the next year. And that's what everybody got. That's what everybody do. See, I was talking to somebody, and the greatest disappointment is expectations. If you want to disappoint yourself in some way, check your expectations of what you put on stuff. See, our expectations is to win a Super Bowl. And some would say that's what you're supposed to have expect. But there's levels to this. Your first expectations is to have a good football team. As a fan or a player, fall in love with the process of getting to be a good football team, or as a fan watching your team become a good football team, and you're going to surrender the outcome, and the outcome may be close to what you want at the end. But if your expectations before all the other work or all the other steps is for us to win the Super Bowl, you're bound to be disappointed. Yeah. Because you know why the Lions finished in 2022? Because they had a coach that said, we're building a new culture of playing a certain way. And it doesn't mean if we end the race or not in the race, is if it's on Saturday, Sunday, is in the parking lot, is in with injuries, with not injuries. There's a certain way, a standard of how we play. And that goes back to just what I just said. The standard of how we play is the goal. We're surrendering what the outcome, if it's a win, a loss, or whatever. But if we set the standard of how we play, we start getting some of the results that we want. But we start talking about the end result first, and like it's already mandated that we're a good football team because we them boys, because we signed this guy or we got this big so and so. We already think we them boys. We already got a good team, and the goal is win Super Bowl. Yes, it is the goal to win Super Bowl. But the first goal that Schottenheimer has to build with this team and our fan base have to build is let's first have a good football team that we can be proud of, that has the identity that we like. Or we know their identity. See, 3-4 weeks ago, when we first got one of their first 3 games, you heard with our fan base. I can go back on my shows and talk about and look at the comments when I did live shows, and we can go pull up some articles. We had already got in our mind of running the table 6-7 games in a row. And thinking about 6 or 7 games down the road caused us to not be focused to win the first game on those 6 or 7 games in a row. And then Philadelphia lost again. And then we start thinking 5 more games down the road. And that 5 more games down the road caused us not to respect and get the next victory. Not only the players, what makes our fan base and have our fan base saying, well, I can't care, I don't like, well, man, forget about this team. I don't want to, I'm done with the team is. We had expectations of running the table. And our players, that's their mindset. Our players get like, well, we in this thing, we gonna get in the playoffs. No. When you come into season, you should have lofty goals. But the first goal that you need to have is to be a good, consistent football team and do something well. Everything else builds off of that. But still, we as a fan base is, we got a good fan base. Our fan base is what Nate Newton said. Nate Newton said he put it perfectly. He said being a Cowboy is a blessing and a curse at the same time. Nate Newton, he said it's a blessing because you in the mecca of football. You always in the spotlight. It's gonna be crazy. You gonna be on front stage. That's the blessing. But it's a curse because there's so much hype around you, even if you're a 6th-round draft pick, that you're unbreakable. You the best thing. And if you go out and do anything good, the expectations get so high and the hype of your play gets so high is that you can't keep up with it. And you get drowned because people are looking at you to keep up with it. I bet you, and I'm gonna say this, and I know it's gonna be controversial. I know people are gonna try to chop me in the head with it. I would bet you if Matt Eberflus was at any other team and they traded away, and I'm not saying Michael Parsons trade was bad, but they traded away their best defensive player, and the injuries of the non-continuity of the defense, would their fan base be so gun ho in getting rid of? Or is just our fan base expectations are so over the roof that if you don't get us there, we're gonna throw you away. And I know some people say, well, coach, yeah, we should respect the win. My first expected is for our team to be a good football team. The old saying, you can't put the cart before the horse. And what does the horse represent when you talk about the cart and the horse? When people talk about the cart before the horse, what does the cart represent and what does the horse represent? Anybody know? In the cart, when they say the cart before the horse, what does the cart represent? What does the horse represent? Know what the horse represents? The work to pull the cart. The work. The cart symbolizes the ride. So when somebody says you can't put the cart before the horse, you can't put the work, you can't put the ride in front of the work. See, saying that we're going to go run the table, even like I'm saying running the table these 3 games, the work got to be put in 60 minutes 3 times. And guess what? If we come out and beat the Chargers and have a wonderful game, you got to put that same work in the next week against Washington on a short week. And then you got to turn back around on a long break and put that same effort even more in a cold New York. This is why I say these 3 games is going to show if Schottenheimer has the pulse of this team. And can he get this team to be motivated and to be consistent when there is no crowd saying that you're going to do so much? Because if he can't, and our players start to bail and they start to get unfocused, I'm worried about this team in the future. Any fan base person out there saying we need to lose and tank, I don't even consider them fans. I don't even consider them football people. Because if you played this sport and you were in this sport to try to lose, how that's going to help build you? You going to bring somebody else in to a losing mentality? Or you just going to say we got the draft game? And see, it's all about the substance. So it's very important these last 3 games for me to see where are we going, what direction we going in. Because I keep saying to people, when this offseason comes, all of you going to be out there yelling about get this free agent, get that free agent. We need to get these free agents. I'm telling you, people, it's never been about talent in Dallas, man. It's been mindset, and it's been the mindset of the focus that you need to be champions that is so much distracted, not by the Joneses, but by us. You could tell how we root that we are stuck in this about it's not about work, it's about flash and dash. I talked to a Cowboy fan this weekend, no, this week, and he was telling me, he said, "Man, we should have never got rid of Michael Parsons because he's the highest paid player in the league, a defensive player." Listen to that statement what that Cowboy fan said. Happy holidays, my brother. But listen to that statement. I'm gonna say that statement again. He told me that the Cowboys should have got rid of Michael Parsons because Michael Parsons is the highest defensive paid player in the league. That's a Cowboy fan. And you know what that statement says to me? Is that because Michael Parsons got the highest paid, that would put us on the front light. We should have that because we them boys, right? And that highest paid is going to make a difference in us winning games. And people, there's a lot of Cowboy fans feel that way. And that is the essence of putting the cart before the horse. Because as I said, when people say the cart before the horse, what does the horse represent and what does the cart represent? The horse represents work for the cart to do what it's supposed to do to ride. So again, these last games, I mean, yeah, but these last games, you may feel that way because listen, and I'm not, and see if I say something about Michael Parsons, people gonna think I'm talking about it. But Michael Parsons going down, and their defense may lose a little bit, but they still can win a championship. In football, there's not one person that wins a championship. No. And when some of your parts start to be the falter, we start to see a little slippage. And it's not about Patrick Mahomes with the Kansas City Chiefs about the major guys slipping. The some of their parts are slipping. And that's just the way it is. It's ebb and flows. But these three games is very important for the building of what Schottenheimer and what Schottenheimer is wanting to try to build. And I'm going to be really watching these last three games to see, one, are you building something that we're going to take into the offseason and is going to build upon that? Are we going to try to rectify and get these players on defense to get to a point where they're playing better? And if you got somebody on your team, Schottenheimer, that's playing this role of victim and playing this role like I'm just nicked up and I don't want, be very aware because, again, I said this before. Listen up, people, when I say this. When you're trying to change a culture of a situation, there's going to be some people that's not going to fit your change. There's going to be some people you're going to think it's not going to fit your change, but be perfect for it. But one thing that you're going to have to find, and a coach knows this, you got to find the imposters. You say, well, coach, what's the imposters? Imposters are people that masquerade that they're a certain way, but they're not really with it. And you got to find, Schottenheimer is looking for the imposters in these last three games. Because imposters can kill anything that you're trying to build. Imposters can kill anything that you're trying to build. So this game right here against the Chargers It's a tough game. It's gonna be physical. Harbaugh is listen, man. Harbaugh knows he may have lack of talent in certain areas, so he's going to really try to physically beat you up and see if you're gonna wilt. But it's very important, people. Hey, I'm liking some of the people, man. I hope we liking and to-do list. I had the to-do list over here. Like, subscribe, and enjoy. That's what we want you to give to get the likes up and subscribe and enjoy our content. I didn't come on here to go long, but I wanted to make sure that we understood that it's very important. These last three games of building something, and this is where you find the imposters. It's very important that we build some continuity of how we play. That's going to take us. In Schottenheimer, if we talking about building a culture, he has to build a certain style of a play. Now I ain't worried about if he say he has some problems and hiccups in the red zone, but he has to build that. This team has to get confidence in it, and it will lead into next year. You can't carry stuff in the next year, but you need to have this focus. I'm really, regardless of what the playoffs is, I want a 3-game winning streak to leave out of the season. Somebody pointed out earlier, Detroit did that in 2022, and they hadn't looked back since. And certainly we can try to get that done. We said we want to start the run. Our run defense has been pretty well this year, but we still ain't start big plays. But I would say this again: we have a tendency to put the cart before the horse. I know all y'all hear that about cart before the horse. Everybody hears the cart before the horse. Here it is something you need to, when you hear that stuff, when you talk to somebody, say, don't put the cart before the horse. Don't count your eggs, before they hatch. Don't count your eggs before they hatch. Well, let's look at that same thing when I say about the cart for the horse. First, let's look at the cart for the horse again. Right? Don't put the cart before the horse. I asked everybody out there, says, when we talk about that, and we talk about our football team and our fan base with our expectations, and this is a problem with our team. When we say putting the cart before the horse, I asked you then, what does the horse represent in that statement, and what does the cart represent? And I said the horse represents the work that's going to be required. The cart represents the ride after the work is being done. So you can't you can't say we got to work before we start, we're going to go 3-0. Yes, I say I want to go 3-0, but I know it's got to start with the Chargers first. And it's got to start one play at a time, one quarter at a time, one half at a time, one game at a time, and it's got to be a grind. Nothing else needs to be thought about but winning that game, being our mindset on that game. Not worried about what Philly doing, not worried about nothing else, just being focused on that game. And then go to the next. And to the next, the same focus. We got to learn that. The cart for the horse. Then I said how I'm going to relate the cart for the horse, just like when people say don't count your eggs before they hatch. It's got the same meaning behind it, because what does the eggs being hatched represent? And what does the count represent? The hatching of the eggs is the work that's going to be required to produce the eggs. The eggs in the basket is just the reward of the eggs of the work being done. Exactly the same thing I said about the cart for the horse. The horse represents the work. The cart represents the ride that people gonna get for the horse work. Count your eggs before they hatch. The egg, the hatch means is the work process. The count of the eggs is the end process. As I said about these Cowboys, we got to start, and our fan base is, let's first say being a good football team, and let's monitor our expectations on certain players and all this. I want 6. Everybody wants 6. But the work got to go in first. We should have ran the table in these games. We could have run the table in these games. But we thought about the end result of the 6-game winning streak and not winning them one play at a time. So these last 3 games to me is important. And I'm going to tell you for one other reason important. The Chargers are important because we got to prove ourselves that we got a playoff contending team that's coming in here and that we can get out of a rut on them. Second thing, I don't ever want to lose to the Washington team or the Giants. I don't give a doggone about anything. So, again, some great gems that I'm telling you, the psyche of football. That's why I'm telling you, man. That's why, and y'all, and a lot of people that listen to my show, listen to my commentary, and they be like, well, they want to talk about X's and O's. Yes, it's X's and O's and Joe's, but I have never seen the X's and the O's be a real effect on that. I just think that we go out and we shoot ourselves in the foot on a lot of occasions because we're still not mentally tough. This is a good process to build mental toughness, Schottenheimer, because you have to be mentally focused and say, I'm playing football for the love of my teammates and the love of playing games. And I've got that love to win in my heart. Guyton, you got to come back. I don't want to hear about, well, it's the end of the season, this, that, say, no. I need you back. And that's not no decrement to the backup guy. He's been doing okay. But I need you back. There is no taking time off now. And I tell the content creators the same thing. Let's stop all this Thursday, but let's root for this team to get a victory. Let's show them how to do that. But as I say, man, please like, comment, subscribe. If I'm trying to do some I'm maybe try to do some. Well, I'm going to Montgomery, Alabama, for the Christmas. I'm going to see my family in Montgomery, Alabama. So hopefully I'm gonna be on live somewhat or get some type of way to do something for the Washington game. Because one of my favorite cousins, one of my cousins, me and him the same age, he's a big time Washington fan. So we probably be somewhere and I'll get him to say hello. But like I said, if you can help the show, as we go on the road and try to get stuff to put it together. If you want, please cash app Coach Marv. Man, if you want to give Coach Marv a Christmas present, hey man, that'd be great, man. I take all Christmas presents, man. If you want to just cash app Coach Marv some Christmas gift, man, it would be greatly appreciated for me to take my trip to Montgomery, Alabama, and to start planning my next trip to Dallas next year, because I plan to hopefully to do 2 games in Dallas. And this time I know the lay of the land and we're going to do better. But like I said, if it's not, you just like and comment and subscribe to me and share this video. That's Christmas present to me enough. But you feel in your heart to support the channel, you want to say in the context of the Cash App, Merry Christmas, Coach, is a Christmas present. Hey, I'll greatly appreciate it. It would be greatly appreciated in Wells back now. I would say this, and this is not no ploy to get people to send me cash apps. Boss Cowboy and all the other people have to tell you this. Coach Marv was out there when I first started, and every show that I went on, I sent cash apps. And when time people had shows, I would load this show up with just getting stuff, and this sometimes just to say great job. So no, anything I get back from these from you all and that stuff, I'm just getting reward that I put out because I understand now on this side that it takes a lot of money to get the stuff to production to do certain things. I have added some stuff with a new camera, new computer, and still, yeah, with new headphones y'all see and certain things, it is very expensive to try to keep on. But we're gonna keep on, and we're gonna bring you other content as well from other stuff that I'm going to be talking about. Basketball as well. We're going to start talking about me and my a guy named Ian is we're going to do a NIL thing because we're going to talk about these playoffs. And I was thinking about having something about the college playoffs. I'm intrigued with that. It's a very intriguing thing, and let's see if some of the same principles of building a team and how teams play is going to take a team to the national championship because football, the winning formula is the same way all the time. It may be different, but it's team first and the sum of the parts. But I've enjoyed my time here. I'm right up on an hour. I'm gonna try to get myself to work. But like I said, if I do not talk to y'all, if some of y'all do not tune in again, if you enjoy your Christmas season, be mindful to be able to spend time with your family. That's why I'm trying to go to Montgomery, Alabama, so I can spend time with my Price family. That's my last name to go down there to spend time with them. So like I said, if you want to hear Coach Marv out with a Christmas present, use the Cash App. Don't send it through YouTube because they're gonna try to take half of my Christmas money. But thank you again, man. As always, Cowboys. I'm say it always, and I'm not gonna get off it. These last three games important. Get your mind on your work. Schottenheimer, keep their mind on the work. We're building blocks for what is going to be a very successful relationship with you. But you cannot take your foot off the building, even in this situation. Until next time, people, salute.